Well, the garden looks great. The fence is almost done. There's still some work to do, but the garden rows are raked straight. There are new wood chips in between the rows, and there's compost on all of the rows that I did last fall. So it's had all winter to get into the soil and feed the microbials down in the soil. All the worms and little bugs and insects are having a ball. You can see right here in the center of the screen, my Egyptian walking onions are already starting to come up. But that's not the only thing. If you look at the rows from here, they look pretty good. But as you get down lower and start looking right down at the soil level, you start to see weeds growing. So today we're going to talk about 3 organic strategies for preventing weeds in the garden. As part of my strategy for fighting weeds, I've put borders in along the garden. And what they've allowed me to do is delineate where the grass is going to be and what zones are going to be weed-free, like on the left-hand side of this 2x8 that's in the ground. The 2x8 also gives me something to nail my fence to, which is helpful when I'm trying to keep out the rabbits. So now, whenever I see a weed on this side, I'm definitely going to pick it. And it's also easy for me to keep the weeds out. If I just keep the wood chips piled up, the weeds will come out of them very easily and won't grow as well in them. In addition to the borders, I also put a thick pile of wood chips in between the rows. This also discourages the weeds from growing and provides nutrients for the soil after it breaks down over some time. You can see just a little bit if I get down here by the ground. The wood chips in the center aisle are low, but the raised beds go up much higher. Using the first 2 techniques that I just mentioned, borders on your garden and also deep wood chips between the beds, only discourages weeds, but weeds are going to happen. We all know that. And one of the issues I have is that I often compost using a cold composting method. So I put the composting bits, the food and the leaves and the dirt and the old grass, I put all that together in a pile in the spring, summer, and fall, and then it ages and composts over the winter. But because it doesn't get up to temperature, up to 120 degrees plus, then the weed seeds don't get killed. So when I put compost on my garden, I know that I'm putting weed seeds out there as well. So the thing that I need to do is, once the weather's right, I bring out a silage tarp and I use a process called occultation. And occultation is a way of smothering the seeds. So you put black plastic over them, which I'll demonstrate in a few minutes, and the black plastic absorbs the sunlight and gets the soil nice and warm. And when the weed seeds feel that warmth, they start bursting forth and they want to grow, but there's no sunlight because you have black plastic over your entire garden. And so the weeds grow and then they die. It takes between 2 to 4 weeks. So right now we're 4 weeks before our last frost date, and I'm going to put out the silage tarp today. Now that it's nice weather, it'll rain tonight, and it's been raining for a couple days, so there's moisture in the soil for all the critters down in the soil, and so it's a perfect time for me to put that tarp on. So that's the 3rd way that we really help control weed, and that's our 3rd strategy. So let me show you how it's done. Well, you can see here I have my silage tarp that I got from Farmer's Friend. I had it delivered here and it weighs quite a bit. I got the big one. It's 100 feet by 32 feet. And my garden is 26 feet wide, but when I put the silage tarp out and put the sandbags on it, and it rains, it starts to go up and down the rows and in between the rows. So it's gonna be, I need something a little wider than 26 feet. So I think 32 will be great. It should go from side to side completely and completely cover the growing part of the garden. It will be too long, so I'm gonna cut it. They say you can cut it. I've never done it before, so this is gonna be the first time, and I'll cut it to about 60 feet or so wide, and that should do it. I already have sandbags in the shed, which I have to get, but I gotta get this monstrous thing over to the garden. And it's better to work smarter and not harder. Lifting this thing would be tough. There we go. Now, I don't know which way this is going to unroll, but once I open the package and figure it out, I'll pull it to the right end of the garden so that I can just unroll it down the center. There has to be a better method to this, but this is my first time with this type of wrapping. Well, I stopped the filming process because as I unrolled what looks like a pristine roll of plastic silage tarp, I found a hole in it. And if I kneel down here, I'll try to get my shadow out of the way. You can see the hole right there. And it goes through several layers. So it would be several spots right in the middle of the tarp once I unfold it. So that's somewhat unfortunate. I don't know exactly how many feet of tarp that would ruin, but I got on the horn to Farmer's Friend, and they advised me to take some pictures and send them to their support group right away. So we'll see how that turns out. So unfortunately, that's going to delay this project a little while. I'll hop on the computer and send the pictures to Farmer's Friend and see what they can do for me. Well, it's some days later after I discovered the rip in my Farmer's Friend silage tarp. But I called Farmer's Friend and they were great. They sent me another silage tarp roll. I have it down there at the end of the garden. I just wheeled it down there and I'm gonna roll it out. Unfortunately, today is the only sunny day this week. We had rain yesterday and the day before. We're gonna have rain for the next 4 days. So I wanted to get this tarp on the ground in the garden before that happens. Unfortunately, it's a little windy. So you really don't want to play with silage tarps on windy days, but I'm going to go get some sandbags to hold it down, and I'll do the best I can, and hopefully it won't fill up like a sail and take off on me. But I think everything's going to be okay. I got my silage tarp unrolled, but it's 105 feet long, and I only need about 60 feet right now. So while it's still folded up, as you can see here, I'm gonna cut it it's 4 feet wide right now. So I'll just cut multiple layers while it's 4 feet wide to save myself from cutting like some kind of crazy line once I have it all unrolled. Well, of course, during the whole money moment of putting out the plastic, I hit the camera and it didn't record. So I'll just show you here real quick what I did. And I'm at the point where I need to get some more sandbags before everything blows away. So I'll show you this. This is real homesteading at its finest. Well, I was able to spread the plastic in my first go. It's not perfect, but you can see it takes a huge swath of the garden. And I have a bunch of sandbags in place. Most of them are filled with stone, some are filled with sand. But what I'm doing is I'm not going quite to the end of the garden, as you can see there. I have room about 10 feet at both ends of the garden for plantings, and that's for flowers. And I like to attract the beneficial insects. I like to attract the butterflies and the birds and the bees to do their pollinating. Anyhow, so I've got to get some more sandbags before this thing completely flips over and the white side showing. But I'm in pretty good shape right now. I just have to do a little bit more work. Well, I think I'll just go around the perimeter and drop bags where I think they're needed. Well, that looks pretty good. We'll see how it holds up in the wind. And it looks like my weeds are not going to get a jump on me this year. So I'm pretty happy with that. So in summary, the 3 strategies we have for helping to prevent weeds are to use borders, to use deep wood chips in between all of the beds, and then to use occultation. That means a silage tarp that smothers the weeds, warms them up so they grow, and then smothers them in place so that all the beneficial critters in the dirt can feast on those and help make them part of the soil, a healthier soil for the time when we plant. And when we plant, we can just peel back the silage tarp row by row and plant in that fashion. And that way, it won't give the weeds a chance to grow rather than pulling the whole thing off and exposing any possible weed seeds that are left to sunshine and water. That'll be eliminated, and we'll have as weed-free a result for the gardening season as we can. So I hope you learned something today. This is Scott at the XFed Homestead. We'll see you next time.